By that I mean principally the dollar. It would also be sterling and the euro. And believe it or not, I think eventually Japan, unless Japan actually smartens its act up and begins to recognize that China, it's got to realign itself with China, not America. And that's really what's driving gold and silver. It's gold and silver are real legal money without counterparty below about 410,000 contracts, open interest in that, in the gold contract. You would say is an oversold market, one where basically speculation is absent. There's a bit of a recovery going on there now, but the idea that anybody's really got much gold is completely wrong. I mean, reflected in loss of faith in our currencies. By that I mean principally the dollar. It would also be sterling and the euro. And believe it or not, I think eventually Japan, unless Japan actually smartens its act up and begins to recognize that China, it's got to realign itself with China, not America. That's really what's driving gold on road doctrine, which basically is she should control the Americas top to bottom. I think that was partially behind Trump's attempt to get Denmark to give up Greenland. I think also Venezuela is part of this policy. I think the support for Milei in Argentina is part of this policy. In a world without America, in that part, guaranteeing its security in that part of the world and doing its dirty business of waging wars against Iraq, against Syria, etc., and now Iran. I mean, all these sort of Middle Eastern wars, this is sleep at night because this is very, very serious. And this is what America does. It doesn't care about killing people who aren't on American soil. They're expendable, completely expendable. And that's what happens. They play this big, big game. They're losing it. And I think that now is the time, actually, when we in Europe, if we got any sense, would actually damn well under gold for Chinese yuan, using these vaults, if you like, as storage for gold. And I mean, at a drop of a hat, the Chinese can turn around and say, right, for international trade purposes, there is now a fixed rate between gold and the yuan of X. You put it on a Bretton Woods-style gold standard for international trade purposes. Now, I think they should a huge, huge quantity. I estimate that by 2002, when they then permitted individuals to accumulate gold, I mean, they were banned from it before then, and the Shanghai Gold Exchange was open to facilitate public participation in gold. By then, I reckon they'd accumulated something in the region of about 20,000 tons. And they had silver. Silver rose 8%. Recently, it's been oil rise, precious metals down, and vice versa. Now it's changing. And I think what that means is that they've really run out of sellers of gold and silver in the West, in the G7 countries, particularly New York, London, and Switzerland. So John Pierpont Morgan said way back in 1912, gold is money and all else is credit. And he's dead right. That's the legal position, despite what governments say. I mean, governments turned around after that, sometime after that, 20 years after that, and said, you cannot own gold anymore. You have to submit the gold to.
Something is breaking inside the global monetary system, not loudly, not all at once, but steadily, and the evidence is hiding in plain sight. Gold is rising, silver is rising, and the question most financial commentators refuse to ask is, why now and why so fast? The answer, according to veteran market analyst Alasdair Macleod, is simple and uncomfortable. People are losing faith in their currencies, not just the dollar, the British pound, the euro, and potentially, before long, the Japanese yen. These are the reserve currencies of the modern world, the instruments through which governments borrow, spend, and control. And right now, quietly but unmistakably, the world is beginning to question whether they are worth what they claim to be. Macleod points to a statement made over a century ago by J.P. Morgan himself, testifying before the US Congress in 1912. Gold is money, everything else is credit. Morgan didn't say it as a philosophical observation, he said it as a legal fact. And despite everything governments have done since banning private gold ownership, abandoning the gold standard, printing trillions in fiat currency, that legal reality has never actually changed. So what changed recently? Look at the futures markets. When open interest in gold contracts falls below 410,000, a level Macleod describes as reflecting an oversold speculation absent market, it typically signals that the institutional paper game is exhausted. And that's exactly where we've been. The Western financial system, New York, London, Switzerland, has been suppressing gold and silver through paper contracts for decades. But there's a limit to how long that works. Eventually, you run out of sellers. And that moment, Macleod argues, appears to be now. Silver recently surged 8% in a short period. The historic inverse relationship, oil up, precious metals down, is breaking down. These are not random fluctuations. They are structural signals. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, a very different game has been playing out. China has been accumulating gold quietly, systematically, and at a scale most Western analysts have refused to acknowledge. Macleod estimates that by 2002, when China finally permitted its citizens to own gold and opened the Shanghai Gold Exchange to public participation, the state had already accumulated somewhere in the region of 20,000 tons. 20,000 tons. For context, the United States officially claims to hold around 8,100 tons, and those figures haven't been independently audited in decades. China's strategy is not accidental. It is a long game, and it may be approaching its end game. Because at any moment at the drop of a hat, as Macleod puts it, China could announce a fixed exchange rate between gold and the yuan for international trade purposes. A Bretton Woods-style gold standard, not for domestic use, not for retail banking, but for the settlement of global commerce. If that happens, the dollar's role as the world's reserve currency doesn't just weaken, it becomes optional. And geopolitics is accelerating this shift. Macleod connects dots that mainstream financial media prefers to ignore. Trump's push to acquire Greenland, US policy in Venezuela, the backing of Milei in Argentina,